Welcome. I'm Natalie Bastian, Global CMO at Teads, and I am joined by Alina Hambrick, the Manager of Performance Media and Strategy at HP. Welcome, Alina.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yes, of course. So we're here at Canvas Worldwide for the Media Summit, and you are about to go on stage to talk about performance media and strategy through the lens of HP. And so I thought I'd take a step back and think kind of big picture of the mentality of the approach at HP when we talk about not just media, but the creative, the context, and the ad experiences that you consider when drafting the media strategy. So do you have an example of a campaign that's either live now, was live, something that it was very multifaceted, and then we can kind of break it down from there?
Yeah, of course. I think our biggest one right now is work happy or hybrid work. I think it's very relevant these days, especially post-COVID situation. A lot of people work for that, looking for that flexibility, productivity, and our laptops, NV laptops, Spectra laptops. We have a range of laptops that we offer that we currently have a campaign that is called Work Happy. So basically, that whole initiative and that whole campaign speaks to hybrid work and flexibility and productivity. So it's very important for us, just as HP, to position it in the right way to, a lot of our target audiences and market audiences, and making sure that this campaign, again, speaks to not only necessarily even a location where you're not necessarily just working from home. It's basically the opportunity for people to be able to work and work productively, making sure that they're still staying happy with their productivity, time management, and also that gives that flexibility. So we've created a lot of content. We've created a lot of creative content for it. And I believe a lot of our ads speak really widely to, to actually to showcasing that message, whether it's the location, whether it's the productivity itself, whether it's, maybe a video that is going side by side, maybe exposing people to what kind of day they can look like if they work to have that hybrid work experience. So we've introduced a pretty much or tailored that creative content to a lot of channels and a lot of media tactics, specifically whether it's digital out of home, whether it's social, whether it's programmatic channel, endemic partner. So one of the ways that we try to, even though we do have maybe that overarching messaging or overarching video or creative content that we're working on, we're making sure that we're also personalizing that content to a certain degree to a specific platform. So for example, we will, have that core messaging or that specific spot that would, highlight the main campaign's idea or the caveat of the whole campaign, and making sure that we utilize it and tailor it to each channel or to each media mix within specific partner. So we also pretty much work a lot with or putting a big emphasis on the partnership. So for example, one of our biggest partner right now is New York Times. So we're creating content with them, but alongside making sure that we're keeping that, core messaging. And that work happy messaging and hybrid work messaging is evolving each day. So we're making sure that we're not only keeping that messaging, but we're tailoring it to the evolving conversation of that subject, making sure that we're sticking to the core with the brand and the kind of the actual perception of what is work happy for HP, and keep it going with the rest of the partners, with the rest of the channels, and making sure, like I said, personalizing it, whether it's a video on TikTok that is a little bit more of a creative or a creator oriented, and maybe something that is a little bit more IT or maybe more of a ICDM or thought leadership oriented content for partners like New York Times. So personalization is key for us for each of the messaging. However, like I said, for Work Happy campaign specifically, we try to make sure that we stick to the core messaging that is somewhat related and keeps that synergy of the whole campaign alive across the board.
Yeah, that makes sense, because if you think about it, work happy, who doesn't want to work happy, right? And so it's a very mass appealing brand positioning, but what it means is different based on who
Correct.
you're talking to. So
Correct.
making the messaging, the creative, the content is so important, but the context of where where that media is placed makes it that much more important. So what role does data play when you're looking at your media strategy across, let's just stick with Work Happy as an example, and the different segments that you reach? What's your approach for that?
Data is pretty big for us. Whether it's an awareness play, it could be obviously brand lifts. We run a lot of brand lifts. We work with MarketCast, where we do that media mix modeling for each channel. So it's very important for us to identify where each channel positions within the funnel, and obviously we measure it as such. For a majority of the campaign, I would say maybe the 60 to 70% of the campaign at times, we do focus on more of a mid to low funnel. So we're focusing a lot on metrics like CAC. We utilize our MTA model, so making sure that we look at numbers and seeing which channels perform. We also make sure that we also look at it from the holistic or overall view, not necessarily just, a last touch attribution. We want to make sure that we are, again, utilizing MTA models. We want to make sure that we are looking at our brand lifts from the campaigns that do run the upper funnel tactics. And I think those give us a good idea and understanding how each channel, how each partner play in that synergy. And then obviously with, current state of media, some of the budget cuts, we do focus on the top performing channels, so the channels that bring us that awareness, that bring us that consideration portion of the funnel, and obviously making sure that we are still driving or bringing in those results like CAC numbers, which is cost per attribution also, and all of the cost pers, I would say, within the mid to low funnel tactics. However, as I've mentioned, partnerships are pretty big for us as well. So making sure that we are not also just focusing hardcore on the numbers and the media metrics. We want to make sure that we do tap into that incrementality that everybody's talking right now, and also tapping into an opportunity on how can we leverage, more out and maximize our media mix to an opportunity that gives us more incrementality for each channel and just overall media mix.
Yeah, that makes sense. And incrementality, the first thing that comes to mind is just the blended approach of digital and TV in general. And connected TV it's not emerging, it's there. It's huge, it's scaling and continues to grow. And when you look at the importance, and that's where CTV is typically looked at as an upper funnel driver. But in your lens, where do you see TV in the broader media mix?
We usually place it in the upper funnel media for sure. Work Happy is a very interesting campaign because we actually do have two funding sources for it, meaning that we kind of bucket it into its media creation portion and media capture, which is creation portion is something the more of the upper funnel that sort of blends into the media demand capture, where it's a little bit more mid to lower funnel tactics and performance metrics. The both campaigns sort of play together, but they're funded differently. So therefore, we make sure that we have specific funds, for the upper funnel campaigns, and that's where we pretty much go at it. We go with CTV partners, video partners, and then obviously our mid to low funnel tactics are mostly, I would say, display, social, and search tactics. But like I said, I would probably say 40% of our media dollars are upper funnel campaigns, and that's where we also play a lot of partnerships with, or want to explore more partnerships in the future, and that's where we place video partners, CTV, in the upper funnel. But we also realize the importance of the two and how the two interact, and how media mixes can be so vital in terms of how they interact together, and how even it we call them assisted conversions, or how the upper funnel media play and assist with our demand capture media. So making sure that we also get that incrementality, learning and analyzing our brand lift measurements, and making sure that we pay attention to the media mix modeling, making sure that we're analyzing our campaigns afterwards, having that presence in the market, also making sure that it's just everything works in a synergy together in order for us to have a full funnel approach towards whatever message we put out there.
Yeah, that makes sense. So to close us out, you are deeply integrated into the broader media strategy mix at HP. A year from now, what do you want to see change to help support you with the broader strategic efforts that you're doing?
I think definitely we would love to continue to do that. We always fear that, maybe certain tactics or certain partnerships. I would love to see more partnerships. Even right now, having a partnership with New York Times, we have this almost like a 360 approach. It's not only like a CTV or a video or just social. It's kind of a little bit of everything with them. To a point where we can host events like this, for example, or just bigger events, or participate and sponsor their events. So kind of like more evolving partnerships with historically standalone big brands, create something together. I think more collaboration, more presence in the market. We definitely want to reach more Gen Zs. We want to reach more younger audiences, maybe, reach more ITDM audiences. So that's kind of all I would love to see for Work Happy campaign, and just overall as a growth for HP. I think when one of the presentations I've heard, someone mentioned that HP is almost like an outdated brand for workers from the 90s or something like that. I would definitely love to pivot and make sure that HP and Work Happy is something that is cool. Something that is worth considering for any facets or any assets or whatsoever, or making sure that even freelancers and maybe even gig workers can pick up our laptops and use it for their advantages. And I think just overall seeing the media continue to evolve, seeing how we're going to take the next steps in the cookieless environment, and making sure that we sort of have a presence across the board, across all media. I think Work Happy campaign does it really well, making sure that we're honing in a little bit more within the retail space. I think this is something that we're exploring right now, and just want to make sure that we're staying consistent with the brand linkage and of that Work Happy campaign, and HP overall as a brand.
I love it. Well, Alina, thank you so much. I feel like we could keep talking for hours, but thank you so much for lending your mind and bringing us into the inner workings of this strategy at HP. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.